Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a vicious cycle, constantly trying to save, working tirelessly, yet still unable to achieve what you desire? Maybe you've missed a crucial secret that the wealthiest people in the world use to build their fortune. Money isn't something you stash away in a vault. It's a tool for investing and generating wealth. Imagine if you knew how to make your money work for you, instead of working for money your entire life. This is the moment for you to change your mindset, not just to save, but to invest strategically. Let's uncover the secrets of those who have built immense wealth. Watch the video now, and you'll see what happens when you start taking a different approach. I was born into a humble home, one where warmth was present, but money was always lacking. We didn't live in extreme poverty, but the concept of wealth or financial freedom was never a common topic around the dinner table. We didn't discuss stocks, real estate, or how assets could work for us while we slept. No one ever told me, money can become your companion if you learn to make it work for you. And I know I'm not the only one. Millions grew up in similar circumstances. Homes where parents drained every ounce of energy just to pay bills, but no one ever showed them the path to financial freedom. For many of us, money isn't a tool, but a worry. It's not an inspiration, it's a constant source of stress. That fear, it wasn't something we created ourselves. It's a legacy, a silent tradition passed down from generation to generation. My parents were good people. They worked tirelessly, they loved, and they sacrificed. So did my grandparents. None of them were lazy. They simply didn't have access to the life-changing knowledge that could have made a difference. They didn't know about investing, compound interest, or the value of independent financial thinking. And because they didn't know, they feared. They feared risks, losses, and trying something new. That fear, over the years, became a family tradition. Like an old shirt passed down through generations, worn and frayed, but no one dared to discard it. But here's what I'm sure of. If fear can be passed down, so can courage. If financial ignorance lived in my family for generations, then my generation can be the one to break that cycle. Not because I'm smarter, but because I live in an age where information is at my fingertips. Take Oprah Winfrey, for example. A woman who grew up in poverty, was abused, had nothing to her name, and yet built a media empire worth hundreds of millions. She once said, "I believe one of the reasons I am successful is because I didn't let my past determine my future." Or Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, who grew up in public housing with working-class parents. He wasn't taught about finance, and no one showed him the way. But he chose differently. He learned, he dared to take risks, and ultimately, he completely changed the destiny of his family and thousands of employees under him. We can't blame our grandparents or parents. They did the best they could. But the change, it's in our hands. Not because someone demands it, but because we deserve a different future. A future where we don't live in fear of money, but in control of it. I started learning from scratch. I watched every video, read every book, and more importantly, I began asking the questions I'd never dared ask before. It wasn't always easy, but one thing I know for sure, if you were born into poverty, it's not your fault. But if you die in poverty, in this day and age, that becomes the responsibility you failed to face. We are the chosen generation, chosen to break the old cycle, chosen to become the trailblazers for ourselves and for the generations to come. 1. A saving mindset leads to poverty. There was a major mistake I once made, and I know many others have made it too. We've all heard this phrase since we were children, save money to become rich. But is it really true that saving is the key to prosperity? That's a misconception I had to learn the hard way. Saving is not the path to wealth. You can save as much as you can, hoarding every dollar, every cent, but that won't make you rich. Saving is like keeping your money in one place, stagnant, unchanging, not growing. It only helps you preserve what you already have, but it will never make it grow. Imagine you own an expensive car. If you just leave it in the garage, never drive it, it won't give you any value except taking up space. Saving is the same. Your money sits in your bank account, but it doesn't generate any additional value. Investing, on the other hand, is about putting your money to work. When you invest, you make your money work and create new value. You're giving it the opportunity to multiply. Remember, the truly wealthy don't just know how to save. They understand how to make their money grow. Entrepreneurs like Warren Buffett or Elon Musk are prime examples. Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest people in the world, has always said, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Simple, right? If you only save and don't invest, you'll remain stagnant while the world around you continues to move. The problem is a saving mindset doesn't just prevent you from becoming rich, it can actually make you poorer. The so-called silent killer is inflation. It makes the money you've accumulated today lose its value over time. You might think you have $10,000, but in reality, that money won't buy as much as it did 10 years ago. Take inflation as an example. 10 years ago, with $10,000, you could buy a used car, a flat-screen TV, and enjoy a fantastic vacation. But today, you could only afford a small, older car, a basic TV, and a vacation that's far from luxurious. Inflation, whether you like it or not, is gradually devaluing your money every day. So, if you continue to keep money in an account without doing anything with it, you'll feel poorer even though the number in the bank stays the same. Moreover, the delay in investing can cause you to miss out on significant financial growth opportunities that others are seizing every day. Not everyone could see this right away, but if you stop and think about the numbers, you'll realize it quickly. The best way to protect your wealth isn't to keep your money sitting idle. It's to make it earn, to help it withstand the ravages of time. Sharp-minded people like Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, understood how to invest not just in technology, but in building a sustainable financial system for both himself and his company. Remember this: if you want your money to truly have value, make it work. We can't keep holding on to it for safety's sake. What matters is learning how to make your money work for you. Invest in yourself, in business opportunities, in investment funds. Only then will your money truly grow, multiply, and become a tool that helps you achieve financial freedom. 2. Data-backed evidence. To continue from where we left off, I want to share with you some numbers, real data that will help you understand more clearly what I've been talking about. We've all heard about savings accounts. Surely, at some point, each of us thought that it was a good way to protect and preserve wealth, right? But the truth is, if you're just leaving your money in a savings account, you're unknowingly wasting it. No matter how much you save, it won't make you wealthy. This is a painful truth, but an incredibly important one. The average interest rate on a savings account is only about 0.41% per year. No, you didn't hear that wrong. Just 0.41%, nearly nothing. When you leave money in a savings account, it hardly earns any interest. But do you know what's even more dangerous? Inflation. Inflation, what I like to call the silent killer, is silently making your money less valuable every day. The average inflation rate is 3.5% per year. This means that while your savings account earns just 0.41%, the cost of living, the value of money, is decreasing by 3.5%. If you leave $10,000 in a savings account today, a year from now, that same amount of money will buy much less than it would have last year. This is why you can't rely on saving alone to become wealthy. You're actually losing money by keeping it in a savings account because inflation is eroding its value. Now, let's compare that with the investment market. Surely, you've heard of the stock market and other investment opportunities. While the return on savings accounts is just 0.41%, the stock market has seen an average return of about 9% to 9.5% per year over the past 20 years. Imagine that. Just by investing in an index fund like the S&P 500, one of the benchmarks for the US. Stock market, you could earn about 9% a year, with some years even higher. Let's consider a specific example. If you had invested $10,000 in the stock market 20 years ago, today you would have about $60,000. But if you just left that $10,000 in a savings account, you would have around $10,000 plus a small amount of interest from that 0.41% return. The difference is staggering, and that clearly proves that investing not only helps protect your wealth, but also creates incredible growth opportunities. You might think, investing can be risky, I don't want to take the chance. But remember, The biggest risk is doing nothing at all. Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla and SpaceX, is a perfect example. He's continuously invested in crazy ideas, industries that no one thought could succeed, yet he has achieved extraordinary things. People like Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson all understood that only intelligent, long-term investments bring true wealth. The stock market is not the only path to investment. You can also look for other opportunities like investing in real estate, venture funds, or even small businesses that you believe in. However, no matter where you choose to invest, the most important thing is to make your money work. Money is not meant to sit idle. It's a tool. And if you know how to use it, it will help you build long-lasting wealth. So what's your choice? You can continue to leave money in your savings account, allowing inflation to quietly steal its value. Or you can start making your money work and invest in your future. The choice is yours. The important question is not whether you have enough money to invest, but whether you have the courage to start. Investing is not a race, it's a long-term journey. And if you start today, you'll see the results in a few years. Now, you've seen the data, the numbers that prove investing is one of the best ways to build wealth. Don't let fear and misconceptions hold you back. Invest in yourself, in business opportunities, in things that can bring value to your life. Wealth doesn't just come from how much money you have in your hands, but from what you can do with that money to make your life better. 3. Misunderstanding risk and the truth about investment when it comes to managing finances. There's one mistake I often see people make, and that is the fear of risk. We've all been taught that the less risk we take, the safer we are. But the reality may make you rethink that belief. Are you one of those people who are always afraid of losing money? Perhaps you always choose the safest route, which is saving. You keep your money in the bank, thinking that's the only way to protect what you've earned. The more you save, the more secure you feel. But the truth is, the more you save, the greater the risk you're facing. It may sound strange, right? But let's look at it from another perspective. When you keep your money in a savings account, that money isn't growing. You're not earning anything from it. And if inflation continues to rise, the value of your savings decreases day by day. That means, even though you might be keeping the full amount you have in the future, that money will be worth far less than it is today. Let's think about a real-life scenario. Inflation is on the rise. While the average return rate on a savings account is only about 0.41% per year, the average inflation rate is 3.5% annually. Can you imagine? In just a few years, the value of your savings will no longer be what it once was. In fact, in just a few years, you may end up paying more for things you used to buy with less money. At that point, you'll realize that saving is actually one of the biggest risks you're facing. So what's the truth? If you want to protect your wealth, doing nothing is a bigger risk than investing. Not investing is a mistake that many people are making, even though they don't realize it. When you keep your money in a savings account, you're passing up the opportunity for it to grow. You're missing out on the chance to create a stable and prosperous financial future. Remember, not everything you think is safe is actually safe. In fact, by avoiding risk, you might be risking a financially difficult future. When the financial market faces an economic crisis, those who keep their money in savings accounts can watch their entire savings vanish overnight. As we saw in the global financial crisis of 2008, millions of people lost a large part of their wealth because they didn't dare to invest. An economic crisis can make everything you've saved become worthless. So how can you protect yourself from that disappearance? The answer is investment. Investing is how you not only protect, but also increase your wealth. People like Warren Buffett and Elon Musk have proven that investment is the path that allows them to not only preserve, but also grow their wealth over time. They understand that although investing comes with risk, not investing places you at an even greater risk. Imagine if you had kept your money in a savings account all these years. How much would you have now? It's not that you can't get rich by saving, but you need a smarter financial strategy. Elon Musk once said, "When you make money, you have to make that money work for you. If you don't do that, you'll always remain stagnant while the world around you continues to evolve." So, don't let fear control you. You need to change your perspective on risk and investment. Investing isn't something too complicated, but requires courage and a long-term outlook. You can't have everything just by saving. You need to make your money work for you. Investing in assets that can generate returns, in opportunities you believe in, will help you build a stronger financial future. We live in a rapidly changing world. Those who dare to step out of their comfort zones and face risk are the ones who will achieve long-term success. If you continue to keep your money in a savings account, you'll find yourself left behind as others invest and experience tremendous growth. So the question is, will you choose risk or will you choose safety? But remember, sometimes the safety you think is protecting you is the very thing that pushes you into a future full of difficulties. The truth is, not investing is one of the biggest risks you'll face. Change your mindset, invest in your future, and take charge of your path to success. For the solution, shifting from saver to investor mindset, I once believed that in order to secure my financial future, saving was the most essential thing. But after years of observation and learning, I came to realize a truth that few people recognize. Money is not an asset, it is merely a tool. I used to keep my money in a savings account, thinking that keeping it safe in the bank was the best way to protect my future. But the reality was completely different. Think about the wealthy, successful entrepreneurs you know, like Warren Buffett or Jeff Bezos. They don't keep money as a stored asset. Instead, they use money as a tool. For them, money isn't something to be locked away in a vault. It's a tool that helps them build more wealth. That's why they're always on the lookout for opportunities to invest and earn returns on their money. Warren Buffett has a famous saying, "Let your money work for you." And I realized that when you leave your money sitting idle in a savings account, it's not working for you. It's not creating any value. The wealthy know that if they don't work with money, money won't work for them. So the question is, how do you transition from being a saver to becoming a smart investor? First, you need to change the way you view money. Money isn't an asset, it's a tool. Once you shift this mindset, you'll realize that you don't need to hoard money without doing anything with it. Instead of keeping money in a low-interest savings account, let your money work for you. Invest in opportunities that can bring returns. When you invest in stocks, real estate, or a business, you're not only protecting your wealth, you're also growing it. You've probably heard the story of Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. When Bezos started, he had a smart investment strategy. He didn't let his money sit still. He invested in big, bold, and risky opportunities, which helped Amazon become one of the largest companies in the world. Real wealth comes from being willing to take risks, from investing in opportunities that can bring much greater returns than simply keeping your money in a bank account. True wealth isn't what you have in your hand, it's what you've done with it. What you call assets isn't just the money you've saved, it's what you've invested, what you've dared to risk. Wealth is the result of bold decisions and the willingness to take risks. This is how the wealthy build and protect their wealth. Owning stocks, real estate, or even a business. These are the methods the wealthy use to build their fortunes. They understand that when you own a part of a company, a piece of land, or real estate, you're not just keeping it as a lifeless asset, you're leveraging it to earn profits, to create value. Owning stocks, for example, is a way to participate in the growth of a company. And as that company grows, you benefit from its success. So how do you begin? First, you need to change your mindset. Don't see money as a worthless asset you have to hoard. Instead, see money as a tool to create new opportunities. Don't just wait for the low interest from a savings account. Find ways to invest in things that can bring greater returns. Stocks, real estate, or even investing in a potential business. Those are places you can start. The difference between the wealthy and the poor lies in their mindset about money. The wealthy understand that only by investing in profitable opportunities can true wealth be created. So don't be afraid of risks. Look at successful entrepreneurs. They don't fear failure. Instead, they find ways to learn from those failures and keep moving forward. Think of Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. Jobs invested heavily in developing new products, embraced risks to innovate, and ultimately made Apple one of the most valuable companies in the world. So, if you want to achieve real wealth, start taking action today. Change the way you think about money. See it as a tool to build a solid financial future for yourself. Don't let fear of risk stop you from entering the world of investing. Only by investing and accepting risks intelligently will you build long-term wealth. Let your money work for you, and you'll find yourself achieving success like those you admire. 5. Practical advice where to start every step in our financial journey is a choice. It's about the decisions we make concerning how we use our money, how we protect our assets, and how we achieve long-term goals. But I know that when it comes to personal finance, we often fall into the biggest trap, thinking that simply saving money is enough. However, the reality is far from what we imagine. Once you realize that money is not just something to accumulate, but a tool to increase value, you'll understand that saving alone isn't sufficient. Where to begin? That's the question I asked myself and sought answers through real-life experiences. The first lesson I learned is that you need to have an emergency savings fund. This money isn't for investing. It's for ensuring peace of mind in the event of unforeseen circumstances. Financial experts suggest that you should set aside 3 to 6 months of living expenses in your savings account. This amount should be enough to let you live without worrying about bills or daily expenses when an emergency arises. If you have a stable job, this fund gives you the time to find solutions without rushing. However, one of the biggest mistakes many people make is holding too much cash. They feel secure with a large amount of money on hand, thinking that having cash means everything is fine. But in reality, if you hold too much cash, say $50,000 or more, without putting it to work, you're passing up a great opportunity. Money can't create value if it's not invested. Remember, money also needs a job, just like successful entrepreneurs do. Warren Buffett, one of the world's most renowned investors, always emphasizes if you don't figure out how to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. So what's the next question? Especially for those who are over 60 or 70 and no longer have much time to accumulate wealth. This is a crucial stage in life because there are no longer opportunities to accumulate. Instead, it's about protecting and using the money you already have. The most important thing at this point is to shift from accumulating wealth to protecting your assets, keeping them safe and stable. You need to think about investing in safer assets, ones with less volatility. Look at role models like Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft. Once he had built enormous wealth, he shifted his focus to investing in stable sectors, from real estate to charitable organizations, to not only preserve his wealth, but also protect his assets from major fluctuations. For older individuals, choosing fixed assets like cash, certificates of deposit (CDs), or bonds is a sensible approach. These types of assets protect you from stock market volatility and offer financial stability when you need it most. This doesn't mean you have to completely avoid investing in the stock market, but if you're living off this money, staying clear of market fluctuations is a prudent piece of advice. If you're older and preparing for a peaceful retirement, financial stability is crucial. Therefore, instead of continuing to gamble with high-risk investments, consider shifting most of your assets into safe, low-volatility assets. The story of Ray Dalio, the founder of Bridgewater Associates, is another lesson worth learning. He always encouraged diversification of investments, but in his later years, he focused more on asset preservation rather than taking risks with speculative products. Ray Dalio emphasizes that when you reach an older age, creating financial stability should be your top priority. So, if you're over 60, this is the time to think more carefully about how you manage your finances. Don't let the false security of cash prevent you from taking real steps to protect your wealth. Understand that the ultimate goal isn't to keep accumulating money, but to preserve and protect what you've already built. When you achieve financial stability during this stage, you'll be able to live comfortably without unnecessary financial worries. Finally, no matter your age, the most important lesson is this. Money is a tool to help you achieve great goals. Only when you know how to use this tool wisely and safely will you be able to protect and grow your wealth throughout your life. Start with small, steady steps, and you'll see a significant change in the future. 6. Conclusion: when you look back, you might realize that for so long, you have unknowingly fallen into a closed loop. A cycle where you get caught up in thoughts about saving, trying to accumulate wealth without even realizing that you're missing out on opportunities to truly make your money work for you. But now, I want to tell you this cycle can stop, and changing it is not impossible. We can end the cycle of fear. The key is not to let fear dictate your financial decisions. It's fear that has kept us standing still, storing money in safes, believing that saving is enough. But the reality is, money cannot grow if it's just sitting there doing nothing. It's time to relearn about money, to learn how to make money work for you, instead of you working for money. For a long time, I was caught up in the mindset of saving. I thought that the more I saved, the more I accumulated, the safer I would be. But after reflecting, I came to understand that this was the invisible wall that had been holding me back. Because you're only truly wealthy when you know how to invest, not just hoard money. That's a huge difference. And if you haven't realized this yet, now is the time for change. Think about the great investors, those who have changed the entire financial world. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors of all time, once said, "If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die." He didn't just save, he invested in opportunities that promised long-term profit. And this is what helped him build his financial empire worth billions of dollars. So, what can you do to start changing? Don't think you have to wait for the perfect moment. Start right now, even with small steps. You can begin by learning about investing, researching index funds, ETFs, exchange-traded funds, or simply investing in small real estate markets. These investments may not yield immediate returns, but they're the first steps in ensuring your money doesn't sit idle. Remember, money has to move to make a profit. If you leave money in a bank account without doing anything, it will lose value over time. But when you invest, you're giving money the chance to grow and multiply. Don't let fear control you. Don't let ignorance keep you stagnant. Step out of your comfort zone and explore the opportunities the market offers. You might feel anxious, afraid of losing money, or uncertain about how to invest. But if you don't start, you'll never know the true potential of your money. Like Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla and SpaceX, he faced countless risks and challenges. But it was his willingness to take risks, to lead and invest in bold ideas, that helped him achieve great success, building businesses worth billions of dollars. Elon Musk wasn't afraid to invest in projects that many believed were impossible. So, what are you waiting for? Now is the time to change your mindset about money and start taking action to make money work for you. Let go of this saving to get rich mentality and adopt a strategy of intelligent investing. This may not be an easy decision, but I believe that if you start with small steps, you'll gradually create significant change. And when you look back, you'll see that you've overcome your fear and achieved success that once seemed impossible. Certainly, the road ahead won't always be smooth, but when you persevere and have the right strategy, the results will be worth the effort. So, start your journey today, learn about investing, and begin directing your money in ways that benefit you. Don't let fear slow you down. Take action right now, and you'll see your financial life transform forever. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. I hope that the story and lessons we shared have helped you realize that changing your mindset from saving only to investing wisely is the key that unlocks the door to true financial freedom. Life won't change if we keep doing the same old things, so why not start now? If you have your own story or personal experiences that you'd like to share, don't hesitate to send them to us. We would love to share and learn from each other. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment letting us know your thoughts. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming videos, where we'll continue to share lessons, stories, and strategies to help you get closer to the life you dream of. Thank you again for joining us. Take action today, and you'll see the changes unfold day by day.